Good evening. Good evening.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm fantastic. You look amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's been such a while, such a long time.
I know you look fantabulous as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So, thank you for joining me tonight with Cocktails with Zaye. I truly appreciate you taking out the time of your evening to join me.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. So, I'm going to just start by, in the beginning of every Cocktails with Zaye, I let you know what I'm drinking on. So, I have a very festive cocktail tonight. I got this really cute glass. It has like some
It's
fall
cute.
leaves on it.
Yeah.
I got it from the dollar store, girl.
That's all right. They have
Yeah,
the best
yeah.
glasses.
I'm gonna call this drink Autumn Night. Okay. Or is it
Okay.
autumn? Fall
Oh,
night.
either one. It's the same thing.
Right. Either way. I'm just so happy to have you on with me tonight. I really am.
I'm happy too, Donnell. Oh my God, it's been such a long time.
I know. I'm trying. Is my lighting good? I want to make sure I'm good. I got this
Yeah.
little ring
You got
light
a,
over
a
here.
ring light?
Yeah, I didn't know if it was. I got lights over here to the right, lights over here to the left. I'm just trying to make sure you can see me.
I can see you
Uh,
perfectly.
well, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it because a lot of people have been talking about this live tonight and sharing it and all that good stuff. So let's tell the viewers who is Nicole Julia, where you're from, and what are you all about?
For sure. Oh man, that's always such an interesting question to answer. Like I like asking that question, but when it's my turn to answer it, it's like, oh, what do I want to share? Well, so I'm from Philadelphia. Grew up mainly in Hampton Roads, Virginia. Mainly Virginia Beach. Of course, I went to Tallwood High School.
Tallwood.
Tallwood building. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like to think about how long ago that was is I'm not gonna date myself, so it's okay. Um, so I after high school I went to college in New Orleans. I went to Xavier University and
Okay.
studied pharmacy. So primarily my background is in pharmaceuticals. I'm a pharmacist and I've always been passionate about helping people. Whether it's currently I'm in the industry of finance, but it's always been to really help people become their best selves. Always wanted to encourage people, to help people reach their next. And so into healthcare, I felt like that was my contribution. Like that was a way that I could help people to improve. Like our health really determines a lot about our happiness, a
Yes.
lot about the way we feel about ourselves. And just me knowing that, I thought that I would be making a difference. And so that's just a little bit about me.
Wow. You said you're from Philadelphia?
I am from Philadelphia. I had never lived there. So,
Okay.
but I still, all my family, all my family is from there. So, I definitely still claim them, still
Yeah.
claim the city, of course. I wouldn't have it any other way. I can't say I'm from Virginia.
Right.
Technically, I can because I lived here, but yeah.
Wow. I have lots of family from Philadelphia. My grandmother's sister, um, she's passed away now, but she has like over 20 children and hundreds of grandkids and great great
20
grandkids.
children, though?
Yeah, and I
That's
think honestly,
crazy.
I think it's more than 20. But she has a lot of kids and a lot of grandkids and a lot of great great grandkids, all that stuff. But we have a lot of family. They're the Atkins from
Yeah.
North Philly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
I
yeah.
never knew that.
So
Okay.
we have a we
Something
have
new
a
every
Philly
day.
connection. No wonder we meshed.
Right. I agree. I agree.
Yes, yes. So a lot of the viewers who are on, again, I want to welcome everyone to Cocktails with Zaye. I do this every Tuesday night. Tonight I have a very special featured guest, Nicole Julia. She is the real deal. Ever since I've known her, she's been on point. She's been strictly business, professional. We met BCC.
Oh my God, yes. Woo,
Wow, that was a long time ago.
super long time. For those
Yes,
of
I
you
met
who
her.
haven't.
I met her in middle school actually, and just from there, she was always motivated, always book smart, always on the top of her, top of whatever she does, And again, I thank you for coming on tonight. We're gonna have fun.
Ready.
Yes, yes, yes. So let's start. If you can describe yourself in one word, what would that be and why?
Ooh. Okay, so I would say primarily genuine. And that would be, mainly because whenever I first meet somebody, my goal is always to find out more about them and how I can add value. Because I know what I bring to the table. And so my goal is to always be able to impart something that will, because there's a saying that people may not remember what you say, but they always remember how you made them feel.
Right.
So my goal is to always have whoever it is that I know, whoever it is that I encounter, for them to feel, different, for them to have, a better disposition than before I met them. That
Right.
may be because I'm a Pisces, may have something to do with that, may not, I don't know. But I'll say that we definitely understand the way people feel, and we're able to interpret that, and in turn, you know, have better insight into who people are.
Right. Being genuine is so important. Like, it's so hard to find a genuine person nowadays. You know what I'm saying? And to be genuine and be in your field of business is very important
Definitely.
because, when people are dealing with finances and business, they want to connect with someone who's genuine, and who's real. And, they can trust with their finances, So,
Yeah.
you know, that's huge to me, especially, when dealing with someone who helps me with my personal finances. You know, I've come across several people who I'm like, oh no, no. Like
Same.
I wanted to buy a house recently. I still want to buy a house, but I've come across so many realtors that were like sharks, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh no, can't deal with it. Cannot
Yeah.
deal
You
with
somebody
it.
you can tell that they care. They tell you can tell that they care about your situation. They can tell where they care about where you are in life, and they really want to help you at the end
Right,
of the day, and not get something from you.
right, right, right.
So,
Wow. So you just look so glowing tonight. My glow is
oh,
coming from this light, so let's not get it twisted. I ain't glowing this bright, girl.
you always been glowing. I don't know why you acting like it's just a light. Get out of here.
I be trying. I try so hard to just keep it consistent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Good.
next question for you. Prior to attending college, like what led you to your major, where you are today? Like, was there a certain point where you said, okay, I want to major in this? Like, at what point in your, education did you decide to go in your field?
Sure. So it's a crazy story, but when I first went to college, my major was psychology pre-med,
Okay.
and I wanted to be a child psychiatrist. And it was because, growing up, kids don't always feel like they have somebody they can talk to.
Right.
And they're often misunderstood and diagnosed and medicated. And so I definitely wanted to, you know, be somebody that changed how people saw children going to therapy. I got to college and the story changed just a little bit when I realized that I would have to go to school for another 12 years. So
Ah,
that I was like, there's no way that was going to happen. Um, but I still wanted to make an impact. And I found out through a program at my school that I could become a pharmacist.
oh,
And by doing that, there are different types of pharmacists that you can be. But, I really wanted to be somebody that helped people come up with plans in order to improve their health. The dream that we're sold in school is that is that whatever type of pharmacy, whatever avenue of pharmacy you choose, you would still have an equal impact, whether it's hospital pharmacy, whether you go into government pharmacy, retail, or whatever. But then, like, the story just changes a little bit when it becomes real world. You know how there's a difference between book knowledge and practical knowledge?
right.
Definitely two different worlds, right? And so I realized that a couple of years ago when I went through, some personal issues, my financial life suffered quite a bit. right? And so I knew that I needed help, but I didn't know where to try. I didn't know who to ask. It so happened, just the way God works, is He put someone in my path that I would have never spoken to outside of that environment. And we met at a networking event, and she was asking me all these questions, and I told her I have a 6-year-old son. At that time, he was 2. Wow, time passes so fast. But at the time, he was 2. So as I got to, I just, I don't know, I guess I had diarrhea at the mouth and started telling her everything about my life and everything about, you know, just where I was financially. So we met again, and she helped me come up with a strategy.
Okay.
And she was like, you know, would it make sense for you to help other people like yourself? Because when you think about not financial professionals, when you think about professionals, you feel like they have it together. Like most people don't think to ask a doctor if they need help with strategies for their finances,
Right.
because you feel like just because they make it, that they know how to maintain it and they know how to grow it, and that's not the case most
Okay.
likely. And so for that was the case for me, and because she spoke up, I was able to get some help in order to get things on track. And because of that, I was like, well, this was simple enough, you know. And when she asked me, she was like, well, would it make sense to you to refer people to me, or would you rather help people yourself? I was like, myself. Like, if this is right up my alley, because health and wealth are definitely related.
Right.
And so that's really how I got introduced into the industry. And from there, I just got my certification, my licensure, and just decided to make this a way that I have a secondary stream of income that eventually will become my primary stream of income.
Okay. Wow. So that's awesome. So you were going to school for one thing, but you met one person and they totally flipped your mindset.
Yes.
That's wonderful. That's great. It was like an angel in disguise, right?
Yeah. Something that you pray for and you don't know how it's going to come to pass. And then you're like, this is never, I would have never guessed that it would have come to me in that way.
Wow. That's wonderful. And what a marvelous path that you've taken, you know. And wow, that's marvelous. So you still keep in contact with that person to this day?
Absolutely. I love her. And because she's introduced me to a whole nother world and a whole nother group of people. And so the
Right.
agency that I'm with now, like, I'm just so grateful for the
Right.
growth that I've been able to have, as well as just the impact that I've been able to have.
Wow. So is she kind of like a mentor or just like a partner?
Yeah, so she is my financial advisor.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so she helps me with taxes. She helps because she's also a CPA. So she helps me with my taxes. She helps me with my financial strategy. I go to her when I want to if I have a big financial decision
Okay.
to make, because she's helped me that much that I trust her, with my finances. So I love
Awesome.
it.
Me and mine says turning your side hustles to the main hustle.
Yeah.
What you think about that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. That is exactly what I'm doing. And I actually did an interview about that several weeks ago. But, when you realize that you have a greater purpose and a greater impact, and there's an avenue that you can take, to make that impact, why not take it? Sometimes it takes people a little while to get off the ground, or
Right.
to get enough courage to say, okay, I'm all in. But once you find that courage, I always encourage people, go for it. Like entrepreneurship, go for it.
Right. Wow. And speaking of entrepreneurship, right? So if you have any advice for an up and coming entrepreneur when it comes down to money savings and putting the money to the side for what they want to do to achieve their entrepreneurship. Let's just say an example: somebody wants to open their own cupcakery. I'm sorry, this is drink.
You're good.
Their own cupcakery.
Don't
You
start
have
already, done.
can't get my words out. So let's say someone has their own cupcakery. They they're working a full-time job, they're just making ends meet. Do you know is there any recommendation you have for someone who wants to jump out like that, but they may not have the financial, um, you know,
Financial know-how. Yeah,
the,
so a couple of things. One, there are all kinds of resources as far as getting funding for those things. That's one thing. There are, as an entrepreneur, whatever avenue you choose, if you choose to start your own, and become self-employed, there's no issue with that. What you want to do is make sure that you find the funding so that you're not going into personal debt.
right,
There are grants, there are companies that will sponsor, all things like that. Outside of the corporate situation, you want to make sure you have your personal finance in order, because some people are dipping, as self-employed, you may be dipping into your personal funds, your money from your 9 to 5 or money that you have saved to start and to run your business. The important thing is to make sure you're paying yourself first.
right,
So let's say that you've already started your business, right? And you're having um, some level of success, with your business. You want to make sure, one, you want to put aside your taxes. Like I've had this conversation with a couple of people. Like, just because you make it doesn't make it all yours. Like, Uncle Sam is still gonna get his cut. So you want to make sure you do that. You pay yourself first. That's super important, because at the end of the day, no matter how much profit you have, if you're not keeping any of it,
right,
then what you're doing is turning your wheels.
okay,
Because what are you going to live off of? How are you going to save if you never pay yourself first?
right,
So the funding part, the savings, paying yourself first, and then you want to be wise about, the type of investments that you're making as a business owner as well. So your business is an investment first and foremost. So those some things are write-offs. Anytime you're thinking about, just because I'm making some money, I can buy a new car. That's probably not the best investment.
right,
Not, some people want to look the part before they're actually making the kind of money where they could be flaunting that way, right? But you want to be wise with your money. You know what I'm
right,
saying? So you want to have at least you want to have at least the 3 to 6 months of income saved. As a business owner, I would even say, 6 to 12 months of expenses
Jules, hold
saved.
on. She just dropped Jules. That was a jewel for your nerves. She said save 3 to 6 months. Oh no, 6 to 12 months of income, right?
Yeah, you want to try to have that saved before you even start as a business
Right,
owner, because you don't know what the market is going to do. You don't know, COVID is 100% an example of a situation like that. If you either have a business, or if you're even self-employed, and now let's say you're a barber. I know and I know you do hair. Like,
right.
how much how different is your business now than it was, 6 to 8, 10 months ago,
Yeah,
from the volume, the number of people that you see on a daily basis or a weekly basis.
exactly.
So if you're not prepared for things like that, you're not gonna know how you're gonna make it from month to month.
Right.
So you want to have start off, I'll say, it's a starting point, 3 to 6 months of your income
Okay.
already saved.
Right. I've never heard anyone say that before.
Are you serious?
Yeah, never. See, that's where the genuine side comes in from you, because you're sharing information because you're passionate and
Yeah.
genuine about what you do. And I've spoke to a lot of people about business, entrepreneurship, been to expos, trade shows, and nobody has never ever said that. Not even in college. Like, I've been to, school, business classes and stuff. Good teachers. Thank you. Thank you for those jewels you just dropped. Like, had I heard that before I first started my business, I would have took some other avenues.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So, okay, I just had to ask you that question. That was kind of off track question, because me and mine said make your side hustle your main hustle, and that just brought me to a place where I was, as an entrepreneur first
Yeah.
started. I know there's somebody up here who wants to start a hustle, not a hustle, start a business, but you just don't know where to start. How would you say during the epidemic, our world, I'm sorry, how important would you say during this epidemic is spending versus savings? I know I went to I did a little research about what you had going on. I
Mhm.
saw spending versus savings as a topic that you talked about. How important would you say that is during the epidemic that we're experiencing right now?
That's so important, Zay. Like when I tell you, so we talk about spending, right? We're a culture of spenders. So our mindset doesn't say, let's save because we don't know what's coming up. Like we don't think about what may happen in the future. We think about instant gratification. I think I mentioned this in a different discussion that I was in. But we don't like delayed gratification.
Right.
We do not like that at all. So it's important to, you know, think about, okay, what if emergencies happen? That's just like if you have a spare tire in your car, right? Because you want to make sure if one of your tires goes flat, you have something to back you up,
Okay.
just in case. You have another tire that you're able to put on your car just in case. Well, if you don't ever put aside enough money in case something happens to your job, or in case something happens with your business, or in case something happens with your health,
Right.
then you'll find yourself in using your credit cards all the time. You'll find yourself, looking for loans or taking out loans.
Right.
And those are things that could be avoided if we plan it. And that's really no matter where you start. Even if make minimum wage where you are right now, you can take 10% of your paycheck and pay yourself.
Right.
Now, because I'm a believer, I also believe in giving God his 10% off the top as well. But whether or not
Tell them.
that's your
Tell
thing,
them. But hold on, did y'all hear that? She said giving God his 10%. What y'all know about that?
off the top, not the bottom, the top. Okay.
How important is money management for us going into 2021?
Money management is 100% important, and I'll tell you, Donnell. So our issue really comes in where, because of anytime somebody goes through a traumatic experience, and I don't care what anybody says, this year has been traumatic.
Yeah.
like in several ways, more ways than one. Um, Anytime somebody goes through a traumatic experience, usually their mindset goes to survival mode,
Right.
which can be detrimental. It's survival mode for some people is not hold on to what I have, but it could be the other end of the spectrum, that I'm gonna spend everything I have because I don't know if tomorrow's not promised.
Right.
So for us, saving is going to be important because we have to have, if we're going to have a wealthy mindset, which is what I encourage, all of us to shift our mindset when it comes to money. How we feel about money, how we feel about wealth. It has to change if our community is going to go to the next level, because we have all the buying power, right? But we're not utilizing it to our advantage. One of the guests on here, my aunt Alyssa, on her podcast, or her show that she had a guest up there that was telling us, actually she mentioned that money only circulates in our community for 6 hours, in the
Wow.
Black community for 6 hours. And so if we're not thinking about ways to build wealth, if we're not thinking about ways to support our community, we're going to end up in a worse situation in the future the next time a major issue happens. And
Right.
whether that's dealing with our personal savings, whether it's dealing with our savings for retirement, like we have to become more knowledgeable about not just saving in
Right.
general, but about our money,
Right.
period. Because that's the only way that we're going to, as a community, really take our lives to the next level. We have got to educate ourselves.
Right. So speaking of savings, what's your opinion of savings versus money market versus like CDs and things like that? So I used to work in banking, and I noticed a lot of people who had lots of money They typically had a checking, a savings, but the majority of their money was in a money market. Now, I used to
Mhm.
work in banking, and if my old job knew that I said this, they probably like, "What?" I really didn't know what a money market was, but I saw a lot of people, with lots of money and large credit limits.
Yeah.
They had money market accounts. So, do you like money market savings, savings accruing interest? Like for those people out here who have bank accounts and
Mhm.
they got all their money in checking and probably about $10 in savings. Like, what do
Oh
you
Lord.
have as far as any recommendations as far as saving, your money?
Mhm. So that's going to vary per person based on
Okay,
where you are, because there are some people that barely like. There are a lot of people living paycheck to paycheck. So when you
right.
talk about, saving outside of, a personal savings account, it may get a little bit much for them,
Okay,
because of course the more the more money you're able to contribute to saving, the longer you're able to leave it there, and the more interest that you're able to get on the accounts,
okay,
um, the better your savings is going to grow, right? So even if you're just starting with $10 a paycheck, that's an
right.
excellent place to start if that's where you are.
Okay,
But just putting it in your savings account is not going to get you growth.
okay,
The national average on a savings account, a national interest average is 0.06%.
okay.
So that's nothing. That's why you
Right,
see the 1 cent, the 2 cent here
right.
and there. Um, as far as things like CDs and money management, that's kind of that's kind of personal preference, because at
Okay,
the end of the day, if you think those are more short term
right.
types of savings, but if you're looking for something that's long term, something that we teach at our agency is index funding,
Okay,
index funds. And that's important because when you think about, not having any loss, you think about having the same types of gains as you have with if you put your money in the stock market, but then you have no potential for loss
okay,
because you have a guarantee, right? So that's an excellent way that if you're disciplined enough to do that, if of course it's something you have to qualify for, but if you're disciplined enough to do that, that's an excellent vehicle for someone that has a couple $100 extra at the end of every month.
okay,
But if you're starting on a smaller level, then of course things like CDs and money markets, those would be more optimal.
okay. Okay, so for those in the room, just to let you all know, if you would like to ask a question, there's a question button on the bottom. So I want to make sure any questions that you all have is acknowledged. So Nicole, tell them a little bit about what you do, what type of services you provide, all the good juice about Nicole
So
Julia.
as far as what I do personally is I help with personal finance. So that's anything um, from helping with retirement supplementation to life insurance to final expense, to helping people save. Um, it's a kind of a long list, but we help people to set up wills and trusts. And the great thing about that is, as I mentioned earlier, it's a case by case basis. There isn't a one size fits all whenever you talk about personal finance. So we do help people come up with strategies to start saving. If you're not a good saver, you got to start from somewhere.
Right.
And, if you don't change, nothing will change. If you keep doing the same thing you've always done, you'll keep getting the same results you've always gotten. And
Right.
so the important thing is for you to step out and start doing something different. If you don't currently save, that has to start like ASAP. And not everybody is knowledgeable about just saving, period. So even having that withdrawn out of your paycheck automatically, like sometimes you have to do that if you're not somebody that's going to remember to take it out of your account. And
Right.
if you don't do that, then you put yourself in a position where when emergencies come up, you don't have anything to draw from.
Okay. They said index savings. I definitely need to learn more about that. How do you apply? What are the best institutions to learn and apply? Also, what are your thoughts on credit unions versus banks?
Ooh, good questions. So index savings. How do you apply? So you would definitely want to get with a financial professional. They're able to help you figure out, what companies, because index savings go through insurance companies, and that's because they have the most assets under management to be able to, you know, be able to cover never, your money never losing. You want to make sure you get with a financial professional that's able to point you into the right direction, because it's attached to in most cases, it's attached to life insurance. You have to qualify for it, usually based on your health, based on your driving record. Um, yeah, and based on your financial, your family history, your family health history, excuse me. As far as best institutions, like I said, that's based on your personal situation, your health, and all that stuff. My thoughts on credit unions versus banks. That's that's kind of some. Okay, I'll
They
talk
don't
about
want my opinion.
Let's hear your opinion first, and then I'll give my opinion. I
Do
might be a
y'all
little
want?
biased.
Okay, so let me just tell y'all this, and this is solely based on treatment. I used to have a bank account, and I'm not gonna drop no names, but it's very red, white, and blue. Okay. Um, and so they did me grimy. They did me real dirty. Now they were so. Every time I would apply for certain things, I would get a lot of pushback. Soon as I went to a credit union, it was like fireworks. It was like they treated me better. You know, my money felt like it was worth more.
Mhm.
Versus I felt like when I was at that other bank, I was just like, why y'all treating me like this? But I felt like the treatment, was different going to a credit union. I'll talk
Definitely.
about my bank, Navy Federal. I love Navy Federal. I haven't had any issues. My only issue with Navy Federal is they're a little behind time with technology, with like
Mhm.
the online banking. But as far as my money, I feel like my money is definitely treated very well. Since I've been with Navy Federal, I haven't had no fees, no issues, no drama.
Listen.
But look, I'm not gonna name drop, but this other bank treated me real grimy, and I've been with them since I've been an adult. And I'm like, I've been with y'all all this time, and y'all treating me like this? Oh no.
So me and mine's made a really good point that banks are for profit. Credit unions are non-profit. So that's one of the major differences between the two. And so banks don't have really your personal interests at
Right.
heart. They really are more concerned about your money. If you didn't know, both of them, banks and credit unions, they both invest your money. So you get an interest rate on your
Mhm.
money because they utilize your money to make more money.
Okay.
Right? But also credit unions, they usually give better interest rates. Now, don't ask me how, because I'm not really sure how that is, because I don't think they usually manage as much money as banks, but they do. From what I've learned, they usually give better interest rates than banks do.
They do. Yeah, because I have BB&T. Hold on, is BB&T a credit union or a bank?
I think they're a bank.
Really? Well, Navy Federal. I have they offer me several offers on credit cards with very low interest rate. I'm not gonna get one. I ain't that crazy. But but that's another thing. What's your opinion on credit cards? 'Cause I'm gonna tell you, when I used to work at a bank, right? A lot of the wealthy people, what they used to do is they used to put all their purchases on a credit card, right? Their bank account, they didn't touch it. They put all their gas, groceries,
Mhm.
shopping, and they paid it off. If you charged them a penny in interest, they would light the whole call center aflame. Okay, they were crazy. Like they didn't want to pay no interest. But I look at historically, they have the high credit limits, they have all the money. Like, is there a method behind that? Are you familiar with that? Like, spending everything on credit and paying it off by the due date. Is that like good, or is that kind of like you got to know your place financially to whether to do credit card spending or not? What's your
Sure.
thoughts?
So credit cards have their place. If you're not disciplined, don't get it. Don't get it. So there's some people, and I've experienced this as well, you know, before I was knowledgeable and more disciplined myself.
Right.
Um, really spending money that's not yours. Sometimes when people get credit cards, they think that's their money. Oh, I got money to spend. We going on a trip. That's not your money, right?
Right.
You still have to pay that back. And so there's some people that will, okay, let's say your credit limit is, you know, $1,000. You know,
Right.
they'll spend the $1,000 and pay, you know, $75 every month. You'll never pay it off doing that. So the goal is, if you're going to use a credit card, you want to use one that has perks,
Right.
whether it's free miles, whether it's cash back, whether, you know, whatever you want to get it with some kind of perk to it. And then you don't want to wait until the due date to pay it off, right? You want to, because so two things. If you've ever been late on a payment, you want to make sure you balance transfer, because
Okay.
that interest rate is going to skyrocket. If you had no interest rate, or if it was low, if it was like 10%, it's going to skyrocket to 28%. And at that point, you're spinning your wheels, right? So
Right.
you also want to make sure that you use less than, I believe it's 30% of the
Okay.
card balance, because that also determines your credit score and how it affects your credit rating. And so if you're at 50% or 75% of your max, you know, you're not utilizing that card in a way that's benefiting you, that's going to
Okay.
help you with your credit at the end of the day. And
Right.
so we just want to be smarter about how we use credit cards and use them for our benefit. Yeah, if you're gonna spend $300, you want to be able to pay that off.
Right.
Like, not make payments on that, but pay it off, so that you are benefiting from the perks of the card without going into debt utilizing the card.
Gotcha. Wow, that's interesting. We have a question someone just asked. Uh, Wildlife or term life, which one would you recommend?
I'm gonna answer it from that standpoint. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. She meant whole life.
Okay.
Um, so they really depend on the goal.
Okay.
So if the goal that you have is just to have some additional coverage for your family for when you pass away, you most likely want to get term.
Okay.
Also, if you don't have much to spend or to dedicate towards insurance, term would
Okay.
be the least expensive option.
Okay.
So depending on your health, depending on, you know, your driving record and such, you could probably, if you only had 50 or $75 to spend, you can get a couple thousand, $100,000, maybe probably 3 or 4 thousand, depending on, sorry, 3 or 4 hundred thousand, depending on those factors. However, whole life is going to be more expensive because it has a savings portion included with it.
Mm.
So because of that, you're not only paying for the cost of insurance, you're also paying for the ability to later on, if you want, pull money from that account,
Okay.
which is either, you know, either withdrawing or taking out a loan.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you some fun questions.
Fun
Okay.
questions. Take a sip.
So, is there a celebrity or influencer that has inspired you, or that you look up to?
As far as a celebrity, not really. I think there are a couple people that I've learned from.
Okay.
Um, and one of them, kind of surprisingly to me, is Tony Robbins.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but because of his heart to give, and so he utilizes his platform to give to others. Of
Okay.
course, when you're wealthy, you give and then you get tax write-offs for that. Of course, that happens. But you know, just knowing how much he cares about people because he's been in a place where he had nothing. Um, for that reason, and the way that he teaches people about, you know, how money works. Of course, I'm very passionate about that, and about saving, and about not allowing people to run your finances into the ground, whether it's your job, you know, whether you go to the wrong type of advisor and they're just looking to make a paycheck from you. You know, he kind of lays it all out. So he's somebody that I've gotten a lot from. I don't know if I'll say that he's like like a, I'll just say that he says some very important things. Like he puts some very important information out there that people need to hear.
Wow. Okay. So Tony Robbins, is he on Instagram, or is he like just someone you grew up admiring?
So Tony Robbins is, I guess you would call him a celebrity. He's definitely
Okay.
well known. He's written books. He has programs. He does a lot with personal development in that realm. So he does mainly personal development and finance.
Okay.
But he's huge. Like he's and not just in the U.S. either. Like across the
Is that RUBIN or is it ROBIN?
Robbins, I
Okay,
believe.
Tony Robbins. I gotta look him up. And now tell me this. I know a lot of times, when we are entrepreneurs or just hard workers, a lot of people don't know what we like to do. They just see it, we working, 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 right? So what is a hobby or skill or talent that many people don't know that you have? I think I know one, but I don't want to assume.
Well, hard to say what people don't know. I sing. I've been doing
That's
that for
it.
quite a
That's
while.
it. That's it. I
Um,
knew it. I knew it. Something told me. I said, I know she could sing. I know she could sing. Are you shy about singing, or?
ooh, don't you do it?
Because I know you have that warm. When I first met you, you had this warm spirit, but I knew there was a gospel choir. You sung.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. But whenever you feel like singing, you can sing a little tune for me. I like to hear singing.
Is that a request?
Can we get some? Yes. Do y'all want to hear her sing? Do you mind
Lord,
singing
people
just a
think
little
we
tune?
care about finances, and you don't start singing.
Only for cock. This is exclusive, girl. I done got my little electric drink over here, girl. Yes, I'm gonna hear it. Oh, they said, "What's in your drink?"
Your
Are y'all
drink,
talking to me or her?
your drink. All I got is Moscato over here. You, you the one with the mixed drink.
Well, this is called fall night, autumn night, whatever. I got these special glass I wanted to get especially for her tonight. She's such a classy woman, so I had to get a classy drink with these leaves on it. So it's fall, whatever. But I'm drinking on strawberry kiwi and Tito's. Just a little light. I'm not drinking too hard. I wanted to get some wine tonight, but I didn't get a chance to get to the store to get me some Moscato. So I just had to kind of put a little blend together, a little cocktail. And I have light up ice cubes, care of Amazon. You can go right to Amazon and buy these. These are liquid activated. They change colors. I don't know if y'all can see.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah. And I'm very classy, y'all. So don't think I'm over here like getting tore up. It's definitely a sophisticated blend over here, okay? So are
Oh,
we gonna hear you sing a little tune? And you don't have to sing at all, but if you want to, you can.
oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, I sing a little bit. I sing a quick line or two.
This is untold talent.
So did you have any no, I'm not gonna do that. So we'll
You don't
do
have to.
a
No pressure. No pressure. It just you said that was one of your hobbies or talents. So it could just be something real short. It doesn't have to be
okay.
nothing.
Okay. Uh I'd be a fool to ever change. He says he loves the way I am. It's gonna be starting here, starting now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right, Layla. Thank you.
I
Let me
love
tell
it.
you something. Let me tell you something. You have such a warm, like you said, genuine spirit about you. And you didn't have to sing for me, but I knew you could sing.
Ooh,
You know what I mean? And I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that. It's just you said that four-letter
it's so
word.
good.
And you can't tell me you know how to sing it on ass. You know? Okay,
Well,
so back to the questions here. Let's talk about natural hair. You a lock sister. How has
yes.
your lock journey been since you started your beautiful locks of yours?
Well, I want to cut it every month. Well, some. So I, unfortunately, I appreciate the compliment. I'll tell you that. But when it comes to my locks, I haven't always treated them with the most respect.
Okay.
And I would share something with you, but I don't want you to cuss me on the interview. Okay.
No, I won't.
So you know how locks start to thin out
Yeah.
sometimes if you twist them too much or if you style them too much. Well, towards the end of some of my locks have started to thin out, and I've just ripped them off.
Well, you know what? We can talk about that offline because
We
you know I
can.
have my own thoughts about that.
We
But
can.
I get it. I get it because sometimes it's just hanging, zangling there, and you just want to rip it off. Give yourself a
Yeah.
trim.
Yeah, but I've honestly, I've loved growing them though. Like it's been a really good journey. I feel like you know how we always say that, a woman's hair is her crown.
Right.
I believe that regardless of what it looks, whether it's short, whether it's long. Don't you say that. Yikes. All right, Chris. Um, but so yeah, I definitely believe no matter what you have on your head, it's your crown. You got to take care of it. And so I definitely do my best to make sure my scalp is oiled, to make sure I'm not over twisting my hair. I
Right.
definitely had the tendency to retwist my edges every week. I don't do that no more, but
Well,
but
at least
I
they're
used
nice
to.
and they look full.
Thank you. But it's a process. It's a process learning how to care for them yourself. Because when I first started off, my first year, I was going to the stylist, my loctician, like every 3 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, every 3 to 5 weeks. And so learning to take care of them myself was kind of a journey, knowing what to put in it, not to put in it, what makes it cake up,
Right.
what washes out easily and things like that.
Right. Well, and of course, in your line of business and profession, you have to look, to par. And, I can understand
Yeah.
why you would want to keep your grooming regimen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try.
Okay. So, how long have you been growing your locks?
Oh my goodness. 8 years. 8 years I've been growing these locks. I've
Wow.
I've had them like several inches cut off a couple times, but for the
Okay.
most part, they've just been growing out.
Yeah. It looks like you have a nice, manageable length there. How
I
long? Like,
do.
yeah, that's
So
good.
yeah, a nice good length to it. Not too long. I have a couple of my lock sisters that I look at their hair and I'm like goals. One
Right.
of them is on the call. One of them is on here right now, Miss Chris. Goals, okay.
Right.
My other homegirl, she's the reason why I started locking my hair in the first place, and the way her hair has grown out has just been amazing. So, I'm just trying to maintain.
I know that's right. Now, is there any product recommendations that you have for those people? 'Cause I know you've tried different products over the years. Is there one or two products that maybe you can recommend to people that you tried that you like?
Um, I don't really have any recommendations at this time. I know I've used Shea Moisture for quite a while.
Okay.
Um, but there are like I will mix and match my products. So
Okay.
so to say, use this line, I really don't have that kind of recommendation. I just kind of do what work. I try things. If they don't work, I'm like, well, I know not to use that anymore.
Right.
For instance, for a while I was using lock gel.
Okay.
Gel absolutely dries my scalp out, so I cannot use gel by itself.
Okay.
Um, the what is that called? It's like a wax. I was using beeswax when I
Okay.
first started. I cannot use beeswax because it cakes up in here, and it's so hard for me to get that out.
Right.
And so, you learn the more you try things, unless you have somebody that already knows what they're doing in your hair
Right.
and they're the main ones that are
Right.
working in your hair. If you're trying things on your own, it's kind of a trial and error situation.
Right. Right. Wow. Well, your hair always looks nice and luxurious every time I see it.
Thank you.
So tell our viewers what's next for Nicole Julia.
Yeah, so I've been linking up with different people, whether they're in the financial industry or credit repair, whatever, some real estate people, just and there are going to be some events that are coming forth soon. We
Okay.
have some things in the works, so I'm pretty excited about it. But I will definitely, you'll see it on my social media. I'll be putting up flyers and posts about it. But really the goal is for people to get the information, because we're in a technological age and we're able to communicate like this. It makes no sense for us to not be talking about, not be coming together in
Right.
groups like this to talk about money or to talk about business or to talk about life,
Mhm.
period. And so, as much as people are dealing with, there are a lot of things that are going to be coming in the next several months. Even though
Okay.
the holidays are coming up, you'll see
Okay.
my face.
There's always opportunities for
Yes.
success.
Yes.
So I know many watching this video would love to follow you on social media. Can you give them all of the different social media handles that you have so they can go ahead and jot that down?
Whew,
And if
I would
y'all
love.
watching this on YouTube, I'll make sure it goes across the screen periodically so you can know.
All right. So, of course, on IG, it's Nicole J 0220. On Facebook, I'm Nicole Julia. On where else am I? Snapchat, I believe I'm also Nicole. No, I'm Julia Love 220. Wow, yeah, I forgot about that one. On LinkedIn, Nicole Varnado. Varnado.
Okay. It's very rare that you get someone that looks like us that comes on the screen and talks to you and drops jewels and tell you, helps you with these questions that you may have. Stop Googling all the time. You got people like her who are here who can answer these questions for you. And if she doesn't have the answer, she can connect you to who you need to get with. Okay. So I remember I was telling you about the post that I had saw. I went to my phone and I found it, and I want to read it to you because when I saw it, it really had me thinking about some things. Okay, you said if you make $15 an hour, the new watch isn't $200. It's 13 hours of your life.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
new purse isn't $150. It's 10 hours of your life. That new car isn't $400 a month. It's 27 hours of your life slash
Mhm.
month. Budget your life, not just your money. That's that's what I was telling you about earlier in the conversation. I couldn't get it out like I wanted to because I had it, but I saw it on your page. I said, "Let me screenshot this because that was big." I'm gonna repost it too if you don't mind.
No, no, please do. And even that post is so real because we don't think about it in terms of the effort that we have to put forth to get things.
Right,
We think about, you know, the bottom line, or okay, I'll have to pay $300, but we don't think of it in terms of hours.
right,
And we know time is something that we can't get back.
right,
So now we've spent, 15 hours or so we can buy this one thing. So we're trading, and that way our time for a product.
right,
And most of us don't think about it in terms of that. So we put value on what we spend our time doing and what we spend our money on.
Mm, that's interesting. And then while we were talking, somebody had posted something on Facebook. I thought it was so hilarious. Let me bring it up. You're gonna be weak. They were talking about uh, how much money people spend on hair weaves and stuff. Stop bragging about $500 purses,
Yes.
$100 nails, $200 weave, but won't buy a $30 life insurance policy.
Hmm.
I don't know who this lady is, but you know what post I'm talking about, right?
Yep. I'm looking at it right now. Exactly
That
what you.
that is so true. Like I had posted something about this. A couple. Okay, it was in reference to small businesses, right? I'm like, you'll spend over $300 for some Yeezys. You spend over $400 on some weave. You know, weaving your hair. You
Yeah.
know, you walking around with all these long, extravagant nails, car decked out, but you don't want to spend no more than $5 on a hair product. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, what that bank account looking like? You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true. And that particular post is crazy to me because I've experienced that in helping clients. I've experienced, people who are like, I don't have any money to save because I spend $200 a month on my hair. No problem if you have it.
Right,
If you budget for that, but you're not even paying yourself first,
right,
it's important to look good, but maybe pick a service that costs a little less.
right,
Maybe this month buy your own hair,
right,
rather than get it at the shop. And it's not even and of course, I'm not knocking the hair industry or anything like that, but it's really about priorities.
right,
Right, I agree. In mindset, people purchase what they see value in. And it's nothing wrong with getting your hair and nails done.
right,
But if that's your priority and your priority isn't making sure that your income is protected and
right,
it's not making sure your family you're able to pass on generational wealth, and
right,
it's not, I care about my family enough to make sure that they'll be okay, when I'm gone. Or if I get sick, I have coverage to cover that.
right,
Or if I live too long, I won't outlive my money. We don't consider long term. That goes back to delayed gratification.
right,
Understanding that sometimes we have to make sacrifices in our life in order to see the benefit later on.
right. She said it's
Keep
not
in
the
mind, what
hair.
is your name? Because you are posting some really, really good stuff in this in this chat over here. I love
Okay,
it. But
I
that
didn't.
is definitely a different conversation.
Yes, it's not. Oh, they know you. Look at my Xavier University alumni. Do you know that person?
I can't see any faces up here. I'm pretty sure I do, but I just can't see the faces all on the pictures.
Tuxedo Gennaro. Did y'all go to schools together, Tuxedo, or you just went to her school? Or y'all are alumni of the same university? Well, yeah,
Alumni.
she said it's not the hair, it's the attention and the false affirmations that come with it. But that is another conversation. You are so
Whole
right.
conversation.
You are so right. And savings account looking like E, bank account looking like Y. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? And then when you have a conversation with a financial manager or financial advisor, and you talking about your monthly spending, I know y'all looking at them like, what?
Yeah. Not even that, but money is hard for people to talk about.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to, that is so when people sit in your chair, I know you're doing their hair, they're run off at the mouth, right?
Mhm.
Talk about any and everything. They kids, dad, how they got their nails done, what happened at their job. But it almost takes pulling teeth sometimes to get somebody to talk about their money and
Right.
how they got to that particular situation and how to get out of it.
Right.
So it's important to have, that kind of financial professional helping you. Oh, sidebar. So I do financial management, but my title is a financial professional,
Right.
just for future reference. But yeah, so without having that ease, that comfort with talking to someone about your money, you're gonna stay stuck. Now, not everybody. Some people can figure things out and they'll go research and they'll look up things and they're like, "Oh, okay, well, this is what I have to do." But for most people, just like some people can cook their own food, but for some reason everybody eating out several
Right.
times a week. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's though you have the capability of doing it, because most of us don't do it. That's why I'm in the position that I'm in to help people,
Right. Right.
because people always don't know the information, don't know where to go, don't know how they can get better interest rates, don't know how they can pay themselves first, and
Right.
don't know how and where they can get life insurance.
Right. So, they said, especially for those who don't have it, most people get a raise each year. This is the best time to increase your 401k. You will not miss it, and you can increase your long term savings goals. You have any comment on that?
Where do you see all of that? Um, so I am definitely a um I'm definitely a proponent for making sure that you are optimizing whatever plan that you have for retirement, whether it's your IRA, whether it's your 401k. I believe that contributing past what's being matched, if that's all you have, fine. But I always believe in diversification. So if that's like if all your money is just in the bank, you will never experience real growth on your money. But on the same token, if you only have your money in a 401k when it's time for you to retire and you have never had any money in, say, an index fund or anything that would diversify your money, then of course you'll be paying taxes on that money later,
Right.
which is not a problem because you didn't pay taxes on it up front,
Right.
unless you're contributing to a Roth. That's a little bit more technical, but you want to make sure that Uncle Sam is not taking all of your money when you need it the most. So, and like I said, as along with everything that deals with personal finances, it's just that it's something that you want to have looked at on a case by case basis, because you may not be contributing enough to your 401k. You may be contributing more than you have to, and maybe you need to start taking some of that overflow and putting it into another type of account, into a Roth IRA,
Right.
or something that will give you a little bit more guarantee and maybe a little less taxes taken out later.
Wow.
So
You are
have that
so
conversation.
educated. I love it. I'm loving the conversation.
Me
Is it?
too.
Yeah, I appreciate you for just accepting the invite and coming on. And I've known you for many years, and you are just such a blessing. You were a blessing back then. You didn't even know it, you know.
Thank you.
and and you are a blessing, today. And you've always been genuine, always been a warm-hearted person, And I just thank you. Even when I saw you recently, you were just so humble, and I said, "Oh wow, I have to get back with her. We got to chit chat." But you're so sophisticated. You're a great representation of a strong Black woman, you know, and
Oh, I appreciate that.
in the finance world, the business world, there's a lot of people that don't look like us,
Yeah,
And the fact to have someone like you who's educated, genuine, and real, and professional is just great. So, for anyone who's here, a lot of people, we can act like we got it all together business wise, but everybody got questions when it comes to investing and how to manage your money. So take
yes,
the opportunity to really connect with Nicole. And, like her and I discussed yesterday, if it's something she doesn't handle, she can connect you with people who can help you.
absolutely.
I have a YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching this marvelous cocktail session with Nicole Julia. She's based out of Hampton Roads, Virginia. Do you
So
offer
I
your
have
stuff I'm going to talk to
service
you about as well,
or
business consultation to
yeah,
anyone who does not live in the area?
yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. So they can just reach out to me via social media, or they can send me an email, or they can send me, or they can
Okay.
call me, and we'll set up a time. So I do have a Calendly, but I'll have to send that to you.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any questions for our guest or for me tonight? Or any statements that you want to make about, um, anything? Where we stand as
Sure.
a people?
I wanted to first thank you for even thinking of me for this. I wanted to tell you I'm
Thank you.
super proud of you. I know I told you that yesterday, but just to see your own personal growth and just kind of the journey, and I haven't even been, present for all of it. But from what I've seen, like I've definitely seen you grow, I've seen you transform, and for you to be taking every opportunity for you to advance. We were talking about your graphic designing and things like that, and I was just like,
Yeah.
just I'm loving it. I'm loving the journey. Um, Question for you: when it comes to business, I know you have a lot of experience with people. How important is it, in your opinion, um, to be a people person whenever you're going to start a business, or is it important?
It's very important. I'm glad you asked that. We actually go to expos and trade shows, and we interact with, it's just like you when you're dealing with people,
Yeah.
consumers, interacting with the customers, talking to them, let them know. I know you're here to spend money at this trade show. I know you're here to look for the next best product, but I'm human, you know, and I'm just going to meet you where you are. Let's just talk. Let's chat. If you want to buy from my business, oh, cool. That's even better. But I'm gonna talk to you. How are you doing? How are you enjoying your time here at the event? Like you said, being genuine.
Hmm.
Having that personal connection to let the person know I'm not just a dollar bill.
Yeah.
You know, I see even down when it comes down to being a hairstylist, I hear this so much. Hey, King Tim Tim. I think you might know him. This is one of alumni of Miss Seymour, Tim. Tim Stallings is in the room.
Hey Tim, I miss you. I haven't seen Tim in like, I don't know why I keep getting ready to say the number of years. Like I want to date myself like that. But what's up, my love? How are you?
Yes, but like even back to so like when I'm in expos and events, yeah, I'm there to make money, of course, because that's what expos and trade shows is about. But for me, the very first thing is to make a connection. Let the people know I'm human. Let them to see, even though you see this pretty logo, these nice products that smell great, there is a real human behind all this. I'm not a robot. I have a lot of people who I do their hair. They're so used to a hairstylist treating them like a dollar bill.
Oh man.
That is not how I work. When I deal with my people, it's all about making them feel comfortable, making them understand I'm here to help you. I'm here to make you beautiful, make you happy, make you smile. The money comes later. Because one thing about that, when you're a business entrepreneur, we know our blueprint. We know what our purpose is. We
Yeah.
know our goals and how to get there. But I think a lot of people who are entrepreneurs or a lot of people who are business owners, they're so focused on the money. Somebody asked me, so, you know, uh, so how much you made today? It don't even matter how much I made here. How much did you make over there at your booth? Because you just look like you selling lollipops, honey. I'm not selling nothing. I listen. You can set up all the products you want, honey. I got my products over here. If I leave it here making $10 or $1,000, it's not about that.
Hmm.
It's about making a connection with the customer. You know what
That's
I
fine.
mean?
Yeah.
That's it. And at the end of the day, whether my product is the best product or the most average product or the worst product, they know that the service that comes behind the
Hmm.
product is a real, genuine person who takes pride in
I
what they
love.
do. You know what I
I
mean?
super important as well. Having that connection, not just even with your clients, but also with other people in your industry. Like we need each other.
Yeah.
So to think that you're on an island by yourself and, and you feel like everything's a competition, I always tell people, whether it's other women or whoever, it's enough out here for all of us to eat.
Yeah.
Like, we just got to get out of that mindset that it's me or you.
Yeah.
Like, it can't
And
be both.
I think where a lot of people mess up, even though, like I said, like what you mentioned earlier about having a certain amount of money set aside when you start going to business, that was such a big word of advice, especially for me, is because I'd heard so much advice, but for you to put it in that way that makes sense to me, maybe somebody else may have said it before, but it sounded so complicated it went over my head. That's how I know they need more people like you in the industry. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, like what I do, I'm not money hungry. I know I'm here for a purpose. I have a purpose.
Mhm.
And our motto and our tagline is feel good about looking great.
I love
That's
that.
that's what my company stands behind. And if you don't feel good about looking great when you're doing business with me, then I'm not doing my job. Whether it's doing your hair, giving you products, or whatever. And from day one when I first met you, I haven't changed. The only thing that changed is I got a business now. You know what I'm saying? And that's all. And don't burn bridges. If I was in the business of burning bridges, me and you wouldn't be here today.
True.
You know what I'm saying? I keep
Very
all
true.
my bridges. And because though, like I made a comment on my page, don't burn bridges because you never know when you may need someone to pull you up. You know, whether it's with advice,
Hmm.
opportunities, networking, you just never know. Who would have known one of my favorite people that I knew would be Nicole Julia, the business financial. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs. So let me tell y'all, entrepreneur friends of mine, I'm gonna need y'all to learn Nicole Julia. Get to know Nicole Julia. We need more people like her in our lives because I'm not gonna roll up in no bank. I got questions for you. They're not gonna tell me nothing that I really want to hear because they're gonna tell me something to set me up to get a product or service and purchase with them right then and there. Because when you walk into a bank, it's a doggy dog world, you know. So for someone like you who is in that line of business, just to know that you might have the same product, services, advice for me, it's just delivered a different way because you're genuine.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
I like to talk. I'm sorry, y'all. This drink, Lord, y'all see that lowers down to the bottom.
I just about
Any other?
gone.
What was you drinking on?
Oh, I just had Moscato.
See, that's what I was thinking. Like I wanted to go get me some pink Moscato, but I didn't make it. It's raining outside. The cars were driving like race cars on the Beltway. I was just like, Lord, let me just get home so I can be prepared for you. We'll be on time
I'm
or
like,
whatever.
Lord, you got me out here sipping on a Tuesday.
Yeah, but you know what? Actually, I'm not a huge drinker, but it gives me a reason to, let my hair down because I work so hard during the week. I just never get a chance to
Yeah.
just chit chat. This is something I used to do when, like, I'd say, "Hey, meet me let's go out to the bar, let's go to the restaurant, and have some drinks." You can't really do that no more. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
they're like, "Oh no, you got 6 feet away. You got work." They acting so weird in these restaurants. It's crazy. So now I just go to the restaurants primarily for breakfast. But if
Hmm.
I go out to a restaurant for dinner, I'm just on my food blog, going up on a Tuesday. Y'all have any questions for Nicole? Y'all gotta remember, I know Nicole for a long time, so I'm on the phone with her like, girl, I can keep talking and talking, but I want to make sure you all get your questions answered because I know we've been up here for a while. Oh my God, we've been up here for a while. I'm sorry. Any questions, anybody? I know Nicole like, look, it's getting late. You got me up here late. Next week I have Kiara Wallace. She's another female entrepreneur. She's from the Baltimore area. She will be up here next week, next Tuesday at 9 p.m. And she'll be telling us about her story and things like that. So thank you for watching this Cocktails with Zay tonight with Nicole Julia. I truly thank you and appreciate you for taking out your time on a Tuesday night. Lord, we could be sleeping, relaxing in our beds, but we up here chit chatting about business.
Yes, and
But I thank you. I really, really do. It's difficult to get someone to come on and talk about business and things like that because it's just a whole nother world. It's difficult to get those type of people to come up here. So for you to come up here tonight and drop those jewels, I'm so thankful. I'm
my
so
pleasure. My pleasure.
Yes. And did you have any other closing statements or remarks that you wanted to say to um, those watching about generational wealth, or anything you want to say?
Nothing except that, I'm all for having the conversation. The conversation is great. What results from the conversation is what's important because, I'm about educating people, but also about taking action on that education. So definitely, if you guys have any questions or if there are areas that you feel like you might need help in, like if you don't have, if you haven't figured, you have little kids and you're trying to figure out how you're going to pay for them to go to college. If you don't have an emergency savings, if you don't have life insurance or you only have it through your job, if you haven't ever thought about a will or a trust or you don't have um, anything set up for retirement or you're barely contributing to that. It's one of the saddest things to see individuals in their 50s and early 60s and they have $50,000 or less saved for retirement. It's like, what are we doing? Like, they'll never retire. And stuff like that is the reason why I do what I do. It's what makes me so passionate about it because that just should not be. And it especially happens in our communities. Eh? And so my plea is to say, yeah, like have the conversation, but take some action, even if it's something small that you have to start with until you have more cash flow to put towards, you know, the rest of your life.
Right.
Start now is the most important thing I'd say.
Right. You are able to consult businesses and consumers, or are you more so in consumer consultation?
Um, Currently, I mainly consult with consumers. I am, I do have connections with people who do more in the business realm.
Okay.
That I work side by side with. So if that's ever if someone has a business and they need more information on that, I'm not somebody that pretends to know everything. I don't. There are things I'm still learning, and there are also some things that I haven't yet dealt with. And so when it comes to other businesses, I would absolutely want them to be in the hands of somebody who's already been in that arena.
Right. Tuxedo says her voice is powerful. It makes you want to listen. Oh yeah, it's a lot behind that
Thank you.
voice. Yes, it's a lot behind that voice.
I
And
appreciate
before I close, I just want to read this because this was on my mind, and I wanted to just say it because we're talking about business and finance, and I'm also guilty of this. And a lot of us are guilty of this because of what's going on in the world. It says $10 a day for 30 years earns you 8% of interest, which will earn you $447,107. And I'm assuming it was versus spending $10 a day,
it.
um, you know, in a
Yep.
bad way on food and drinks and all that care. So pretty much what you're saying is spending $10 a day versus saving $10 a day for 30 years at 8% interest will earn you $447,107. This is something that I saw. This was another one of my little things I had to the side to mention. Did you want to say something about that or your thoughts?
Sure. So saving is going to benefit your future. Spending may benefit you now, depending on what you're spending it on. But, when we start talking about value, what we place more value on, I think me and Mines did bring that up earlier. It's about really about what we value. And so if you only value the here and now and making sure, you're satisfied right now, you're not going to be thinking about or concerned about, am I taking steps now that my future self is going to thank me for? Like 20 years from now, am I going to be like, man, like I really should have started saving when I was 25 instead of waiting until I'm almost 50?
Right.
And so that has to do with not only what you value, but really where you're placing your money. So, okay, 8% is a decent interest rate, but think about, if you were just putting it under your mattress, it's not going to grow to 400 plus thousand. You're going to have exactly what you put in. And so that's, both of those points are very important, just knowing where to put your money, but also making sure that you're not just living for today, but that you're thinking about, where you're going to be in your future, what steps you're taking now to make sure you can live the life that you want to live, like even later on.
Right. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Nicole. That came back on my screen. I said, oh my God, I cannot not mention that because that is so me. Like I used to go to work every day. I was always busy, doing here, busy, 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 getting to work. Oh, I gotta go to Starbucks. Let me get a coffee. Okay, and a sausage cheddar sandwich every day for breakfast. I'm spending like $6, $7, spending
Yeah.
like $10 for parking. I'm hungry. Oh, I gotta go get something from the
What's
food
up?
truck. That's another 7, 8. That's like crazy, like $25 to $30 a day. And
Yeah.
that don't even include taking the subway to work. That's a whole nother something else. And every day, a lot of people in the city, DC, New York, they think like, oh, okay, whatever, whatever. Okay, then let me just get it. And next thing you know, spending $45 to $60 a day is nothing.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, oh, okay, I need this now. But like in that post right there, you spending all that money a day. If you would have took that same money and put it in the savings account at 8%, I could be banking in 30 years, and I didn't even look at it like that. You know what I'm saying?
So true.
So,
So true.
so this gives me a lot to think about, especially now that we're home for the COVID situation. It's just a lot of reevaluating that I have to do. I'm guilty of ordering Uber Eats and DoorDash and all this stuff. I need to get back. But I need to get back to cooking in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? All that good stuff. But again, you know me, you could talk forever, but I'm not gonna hold you up. You all, thank you for staying in the room and thank you for commenting. Thank you for, every making this an engaging live video. It's so important for people to engage. And that's
Yeah.
what Cocktailz with Zaye is all about. I don't just come up here to talk and just ask questions. I want engagement. And I just thank you all so much for giving us a well-rounded session. And now you all know someone who's dear to me, Nicole. And if y'all needs any business advice or money management, she is there to assist. And again, if she cannot assist, she has people who she can refer you to within her agency. Correct?
Yes.
And one last thing for the people who just came in, can you just give them your social media handles or how they can follow you?
You sure can. So of course my IG is Nicole J0220. My Facebook is Nicole Julia, Julia. My LinkedIn is Nicole Varnado, V as in Victor, Arnado. And my Snapchat is Julia Love 220.
All righty. Well, thank you again. You have a blessed night. Thank you for singing for me. I feel so privileged.
I'm glad Tim wasn't up here when I did that.
Okay. I should have harmonized it with you like we was back in the gospel choir.
That's
All
all
right.
right.
Well, thank you so much. And again, I'll be linking up with you so we can talk some business stuff.
Absolutely. I look
All
forward
right.
to it.
All right. Well, I'll send you the link and everything on the video when it's done editing. But thank you all for joining Nicole and I on Cocktails with Zaye tonight. Again, make sure you follow Nicole if you're watching this video on YouTube. Her social media handles will be going across the screen throughout this whole video. And again, thank you for your advice in being so welcoming tonight in a warm spirit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.